Hey everyone, welcome to the online program of Amrita IAS Academy. My name is Sibi Joy, and as part of our monthly current affairs MCQ series, this is part 1A of August 2020. So without any delay, we'll go into the questions. Question number 1. Consider the following statements. 1. The Constitution of India defines the term minorities. 2. The Constitution of India determines a minority only on the basis of religion and language. 3. The National Commission for Minorities is a constitutional body. Which of the above mentioned statements are correct? Option A 1 and 2 only, option B 1 only, option C 2 and 3 only, and option D 2 only. So looking at this, I can say we'll be learning about the constitutional bodies, the statutory bodies and the quasi-judicial bodies as part of our civil service preparation for the UPSC exam. So while learning about that, you will know that the National Commission for Minorities is not a constitutional body but rather a statutory body. So the third statement is wrong. So if you remove the third statement, you are left with just three options, option A, B and D, that is 1 and 2 only, 1 only and 2 only. So now we have to look at the other statements. The first statement, the Constitution of India defines the term minorities, and the second statement, the Constitution of India determines a minority only on the basis of religion and language. The second statement is actually right because the Constitution of India actually determines whether a person belongs to a minority community or not only on the basis of language or religion. And the first statement, the Constitution of India does not define the term minorities, but it just gives the rights of minorities, but it does not define the term minority. Taking that into account, I can say the first statement is wrong, but the second statement is right. And looking at that, I would say the option D 2 only seems to be the right answer in this context. Let's look at the explanation. The answer is D. Statement 1 is not correct because the Constitution of India does not define the term minority and only refers to minorities, but the rights of the minorities have been spelled out in the Constitution in detail. The second statement is correct because the Constitution does provide recognized minorities based on religion and linguistic basis, and thus provide special rights and safeguards only to the religious and linguistic minority. Initially, 5 religious communities, that are the Muslims, the Christians, the Sikhs, Buddhists and Zoroastrians or Parsis, were notified as the minority communities by the Union government. Further, with a notification dated 27th of January 2014, Jains were also notified as another minority community. And the third statement, the Union government set up the National Commission for Minorities, or the NCM, under the National Commission for Minorities Act of 1992. Hence, it is a statutory body. So that is the explanation for this question. We'll go to the next question. In context of the Hajongs, consider the following statements. 1. They are predominantly Buddhist and are found in the Ladakh region of India. 2. They are identified as one of the particularly vulnerable tribal groups, or the PVTGs. Choose the correct code. Option A 1 only, option B 2 only, option C both 1 and 2, and option D neither 1 or 2. So while learning about the major tribes which are present in India and where the people of different ethnicities are present, you will be learning that the Hajongs do not belong to the Ladakh region, and they actually belong to the region of Chittagong in Bangladesh, and they are considered to be actually Hindus, and they, along with the Chakma ethnic group, actually migrated to India. So taking that into account, I can say the first statement is wrong, and neither are they identified as one of the particularly vulnerable tribal groups, but they are identified to be a scheduled tribe. So in this case, both the statements are wrong, and the answer option D, neither 1 or 2, will be the right answer. This has been a part of our current affairs, and there have been recently discussion over whether Hajongs and Chakmas have to be brought about into India and all those other discussions too. So let's look at the explanation. The answer D is correct. Statement 1 is not correct because the Chakmas and the Hajongs are ethnic people who lived in the Chittagong hill tracts, most of which are located in Bangladesh. Chakmas are predominantly Buddhist, while Hajongs are Hindus. They are found in Northeast India, West Bengal, Bangladesh and Myanmar. Second statement is not correct because Hajongs are identified as scheduled tribes but not as a PVTG. So that is the explanation about the Hajong tribe. I hope you all try to remember it. We'll go for the next question. Consider the following statements about the biomedical waste management rules of 2016. 1. It applies to the hazardous microorganisms and radioactive waste. 2. It calls for establishing a barcode system and global positioning system for handling of biomedical waste for disposal. 3. Ministry of Health and Family Welfare review the implementation of the rules in the country once in a year through the state health secretaries. Select the correct answer using the given below code. Option A 1 and 2 only, option B 2 only, option C 2 and 3 only, and option D 3 only. So looking at this, I can say that the biomedical waste management rules of 2016 does not apply to certain things, and among them it's the radioactive waste and the hazardous microorganisms. So taking that into account, I can say the first statement is absolutely wrong. Remove the first statement. You are left with just options B, C and D, that is 2 only, 2 and 3 only, and option D 3 only. The second statement seems to be a bit more logical, but the third statement, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare review the implementation of the rules in the country once in a year through the state health secretaries. The biomedical waste management rule, while it may seem to be the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare that is looking at it, it's actually the Ministry of Environment and Forest and Climate Change that is actually the implementing agency, or which reviews the implementation of the biomedical waste management rules of 2016. So I'd say that since this ministry is wrong, I'd say the third statement is also wrong. Remove the third statement, we are left with just one option, that is option B, 2 only. So it calls for establishing a barcode system and global positioning system for handling of biomedical waste for disposal. That is the right statement. So I'd go with the answer option B, 2 only. Let's look at the explanation. The answer is B. Statement 1 is not correct because these rules shall apply to all persons who generate, collect, receive, store, transport, treat, dispose or handle biomedical waste in any form and shall not apply to radioactive waste, waste covered under the municipal solid waste rules of 2000, lead acid batteries, hazardous waste, e-waste and hazardous microorganisms. The statement 2 is correct because it calls for establishing a barcode system and GPS for handling of biomedical waste bags or containers containing biomedical waste for disposal. The third statement is also not correct because it's the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change which shall review the implementation of the rules in the country once in a year through the state health secretaries and the CPCB and the SPCB, that is the Central Pollution Control Board and the State Pollution Control Board. So that is the explanation for this question. I hope you all try to remember it. We'll go for the next question. Consider the following statements about the Island Development Agency or the IDA. 1. Meetings of the IDA are chaired by the Prime Minister. 2. It launched the Holistic Development of Islands program to strengthen infrastructure support, projects for improving air, sea and digital connectivity. 3. It adopted a detailed master plan for holistic development of all islands in Indian territory, including both habited and uninhabited islands, inhabited ones. So select the correct answer using the given below code. Option A 1 and 2 only, option B 1, 2 only, option C 1 and 3 only, and option D 3 only. So looking at the third statement, while Island Development Agency will have the mandate of development, it adopted a detailed master plan for holistic development of all islands in Indian territory. There are so many islands in Indian territory, so as to say that each and every small island of India is being considered with a detailed master plan seems to be a bit illogical right now. So I would say the third statement is wrong. So let's remove the third statement. You are left with just two options, option A and B, that is 1 and 2 only and 2 only. Automatically the second statement becomes right. Let's look at the first statement. Meetings of the IDA are chaired by the Prime Minister. Yes, it could be the Prime Minister who is doing it, or it could also be the Home Minister. In this case, the Island Development Agency is actually headed by the Home Minister, and the first statement is wrong. So in that case, we'll go with the option B, 2 only as the right answer. Let's look at the explanation. The answer is B. Statement 1 is not correct because IDA was set up in 2017 following the PM review meeting for the holistic development of islands. The meetings of the IDA are chaired by the Union Home Minister, and other members include the Cabinet Secretary, the Home Secretary, the Secretary for Environment, and the Tourism Secretary and the Tribal Secretary. The statement 2 is correct because development plans also include focus on creation of jobs for the islanders through tourism promotion as well as export of seafood and coconut based products made in the islands. The third statement is not correct because in the first meeting only 10 islands have been identified for development in the first phase, which include 5 islands in the Andaman and Nicobar, which are the Smith, Ross, Long, Avis and Little Andaman, and 5 in Lakshadweep, that is Minicoy, Bangaram, Tinakara, Cheriyam and Suheli. But in the second meeting, a detailed master plan for holistic development of 9 islands were adopted, which include the 4 in the Andaman and Nicobar Islands, that is Smith, Ross, Long and Avis, and 5 in Lakshadweep, that is Minicoy, Bangaram, Tinakara, Cheriyam and Suheli. So that is explanation for this question about the IDA. Hope you all try to remember it. We'll go for the next question. Consider the following statements about monetary policy. 1. The Ministry of Finance is vested with the responsibility of conducting monetary policy. 2. The primary objective of monetary policy is to maintain price stability and while keeping in mind the objective of growth. 3. Liquidity adjustment facility and market stabilization scheme are used for implementing monetary policy. Which of the above mentioned statements are correct? Option A 1 and 2 only, option B 2 and 3 only, option C 1 and 3 only, and option D all of the above. So one thing we'll be learning while preparing about economy for the UPSC Civil Service examination is about the monetary policy and the fiscal policy. And we'll be learning that the monetary policy is not determined by the Ministry of Finance but by the RBI, whereas the fiscal policy is determined by the Ministry of Finance. So the first statement itself is a blunder. Let's remove the first statement. We are left with just one option, option B 2 and 3 only. They are the primary objective of monetary policy is to maintain price stability while keeping in mind the objective of growth. That is true. The third statement, liquidity adjustment facility and market stabilization scheme are used for implementing a monetary policy. That is also true. So I'd go with the answer option B 2 and 3 only. Let's look at the explanation. The answer is B. Statement 1 is not correct because RBI is vested with the responsibility of conducting monetary policy, and this responsibility is explicitly mandated under the Reserve Bank of India Act of 1934. Statement 2 is correct because the primary objective of monetary policy is to maintain price stability while keeping in mind the objective of growth, and price stability is a necessary precondition to sustainable growth. In May 2016, the RBI Act of 1934 was amended to provide a statutory basis for the implementation of the flexible inflation targeting framework. The third statement is correct because there are several direct and indirect instruments that are used for implementing monetary policy. repo rate, the fixed interest rate at which the Reserve Bank provides overnight liquidity to banks against the collateral of government and other approved securities under the LAF for the liquidity adjustment facility. So that is the explanation about the RBI and the monetary policy. I hope you all are aware about it. We'll go for the next question. Question number 6. Consider the following statements about Dhole. 1. They mainly live in Himalayas and Northwest India. 2. They are listed as least concerned by the IUCN. Which of the above mentioned statements are correct? Option A 1 only, option B 2 only, option C both 1 and 2, and option D neither 1 nor 2. So Dhole are actually a form of dog or fox which is present in India, and they actually don't live in Himalayas or Northwest India, but they are actually present below the Himalayas in the plains region and also in the Deccan Plateau region. And the second statement, they are not listed as least concern, but they are actually considered as vulnerable or endangered. We look at the explanation, but both the statements are definitely wrong in this context. So the answer D, option D, neither 1 or 2 would be the right answer in this case. Let's look at the explanation. The answer is D. Statement 1 is not correct because Dholes live in most of India south of Ganges River. In Northeast India, it's present in Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, Meghalaya and West Bengal, and in the Indo-Gangetic Plains, Terai region. There are very few Dholes in Himalayas and Northwest India. In 2011, Dhole packs were recorded by camera traps in the Chitwan National Park, or the first national park in Nepal. Karnataka, Maharashtra and Madhya Pradesh rank high in the conservation of the Dhole in India. The statement 2 is not correct because it is listed as endangered. It's not vulnerable. It is listed as endangered by the IUCN. And 3 states rank high. That is why it was there in the news. The major states are Karnataka, Maharashtra and Madhya Pradesh. So that is the explanation for this question about Dhole. Hope you all try to remember this. We'll go for the next question. In the context of production linked incentive scheme or PLI, consider the following statements. 1. It proposes financial incentive to boost domestic manufacturing and attract investments in electronics value chain, including mobile phones and electronic components. 2. The Standardization, Testing and Quality Certification Directorate, or the STQC, under the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, or MeitY, will implement this scheme. 3. All electronic manufacturing companies which are Indian or have a registered unit in India will be eligible to apply for the scheme. Choose the correct code. Option A 1 and 2 only, option B 2 only, option C 1 and 3 only, and option D 3 only. So, production linked incentive scheme has been present in the news consistently over the past few news cycles. This has been talked about to boost the Make in India initiative. And looking at that, I can say the second statement, the STQC under the MeitY will implement this scheme. No, it is not the STQC under MeitY which is implementing this scheme. So, that is a wrong statement. Let's remove the second statement. You are left with just 2 options, option C 1 and 3 only, and option D 3 only. So, automatically we managed to make it a 50-50 elimination method, and the third statement has already become right. Even though it has a keyword directive of all electronic manufacturing companies present in that, the third statement is right. Now, the only question is on the first statement. It proposes financial incentive to boost domestic manufacturing and attract investments in electronics value chain, including mobile phones and electronic components. Yes, this statement is in line with the demand of the question. So, I'd go with the option C 1 and 3 only to be the right answer. Let's look at the explanation. The answer is C. The PLI scheme was notified on April 1 in accordance with the National Policy on Electronics. According to the scheme, incentives of 4 to 6% will be given to electronics companies that manufacture mobile phones and other electronic components such as transistors, diodes, thyristors, resistors, capacitors and nanoelectronic components such as micro electromechanical systems. The PLI scheme for large-scale electronic manufacturing proposes a financial incentive to boost domestic manufacturing and attract large investments in the electronics value chain, including mobile phones, electronic components and the ATMP units. And the statement 2 is not correct because it will be implemented through a nodal agency which will act as a project management agency which will provide secretarial, managerial and implementation support as well as carry out any other responsibilities assigned to it by MeitY. So, it is not the STQC but a special program project management agency which will be act as a nodal agency. The third statement, all electronic manufacturing companies which are Indian or have a registered unit in India will be eligible to apply for the scheme, and these companies can either create a new unit or seek incentives for existing units in one or more locations in India. So, that is the explanation for this question. I hope you all try to remember this. We will go for the next question. Recently, order for Hammer missiles is being processed under the emergency powers for acquisition given to the armed forces by the government of India. Which of the following country has agreed to supply this missile to India? Option A USA, option B Israel, option C Russia and option D France. So, looking at this question, it is an ABC type of question, very hard to find out unless we have a very clear knowledge about the current affair in which this is being talked about. So, Hammer missiles are actually being bought by India, and this was there in the news recently with regards to the Rafale purchase also, because this also being bought from France for the Rafale aircraft. So, taking that into account, if you can make a logical assumption to link Hammer with France or USA or Russia or Israel, if you can find the proper logic, go for it. Otherwise, you can skip it in case you have attended sufficient questions apart from these type of ABCD type of questions. So, in this case, if you have read the current affairs, definitely you know that option D France is the right answer. Let's look at the explanation. The answer is D. Explanation: Hammer is a highly agile modular munition extended range missile. It's a medium range modular air to ground weapon designed for the French Air Force and the Navy. It is a rocket enabled precision missile with a range of 60 km, perfectly suited for high altitude. So France has actually agreed to supply Hammer missiles to India for the Rafale combat aircraft, and the order for missiles is being processed under the emergency powers for acquisition given to the armed forces by the government of India. So that is explanation for this question. I hope you all try to remember this. We'll go for the next question. Consider the following statements about the Aravallis. 1. This mountain range is spread across 5 Indian states. 2. Guru Shikhar is the highest peak of Aravalli range. 3. Aravalli is the oldest range of fault mountains in India. 4. The Banas, Sahibi and the Luni river flow through the Aravalli. Select the correct answer using the given below code. Option A 2 and 3 only, option B 1 and 4 only, option C 2 and 4 only, and option D 1, 3 and 4 only. So, talking about Aravallis, I would definitely say that the first statement, this mountain range is spread across 5 Indian states, is wrong because it starts from Delhi, extends through Haryana and through Rajasthan and ends in Gujarat. So, while learning about the Indian physical geography, we will be learning about the Aravalli mountain range, and definitely you will know that which are the states in which it's passing through. So, excluding Delhi, which is considered to be a national capital territory, Aravalli is actually spread across 3 Indian states. So, I would say the first statement is wrong. Remove the first statement, you are left with just 2 options, option A and C, that is 2 and 3 only, and option C 2 and 4 only. Option 2 is correct in both the instances. The only question is on option C, the statement 3 and statement 4. The third statement, the Aravalli is the oldest range of fault mountains in India. Aravallis are not a fault mountains, but rather they are fold mountains. You will again be learning it as part of your Indian physical geography, and even if you are not aware of it, you can take this opportunity to learn that it's a fold mountain, not a fault mountain. So, I can say the third statement is wrong. And the fourth statement, the Banas, Sahibi and the Luni river flow through the Aravalli. Yes, that statement is absolutely right. So, I'd go with the option C 2 and 4 only to be the right answer. Let's look at the explanation. The answer is C. Statement 1 is not correct because Aravalli range is a mountain range in northwestern India running approximately 692 kilometers in a southwest direction, starting near Delhi, passing through southern Haryana and Rajasthan, ending in Gujarat. It's actually spread across 3 Indian states. The highest peak of Aravalli range is in the Guru Shikhar at the 1722 meters. The third statement is not correct because the Aravalli range is an eroded stub of ancient mountains, is the oldest range of fold mountains in India. The fourth statement is not correct because the 3 major rivers and their tributaries flow from the Aravalli, namely the Banas, the Sahibi rivers, which are tributaries of Yamuna, as well as the Luni river, which flows into the run of Kutch. So, that is the explanation about Aravallis and the rivers flowing into it. I hope you all try to remember this. We'll go for the next question. Question number 10. Consider the following statements about the Indian leopard. 1. It is listed on par with tigers protected under Schedule 1 of the Wildlife Protection Act of 1972. 2. It is listed as endangered on the IUCN Red List. 3. It is listed in CITES Appendix 1. Which of the above mentioned statements are correct? Option A 1 and 2 only, option B 2 and 3 only, and option C 1 and 3 only, and option D all of the above. So, while we will be learning about the major flora and fauna of India as part of our civil service preparation under the environment part of the syllabus. So, while learning about it, we will be learning about which are the animals which are critically endangered, which are endangered, which are vulnerable, and which are least concern. So, in this case, I would say the Indian leopard is not listed as endangered in the IUCN Red List, but rather it is listed as vulnerable. So, let's remove the statement 2. If you remove statement 2, you are left with just one option, option C 1 and 3 only. That is, it is listed on par with tigers protected under Schedule 1 of the Wildlife Protection Act of 1972, and it is listed in CITES Appendix 1. So, I'd go with the option C 1 and 3 only to be the right answer. Let's look at the explanation. The answer is C. Statement 1 is correct because it is listed on par with tigers protected under Schedule 1 of the WPA of 1972. The second statement is not correct because it is listed as vulnerable on the IUCN Red List because populations have been declining following habitat loss, fragmentation, poaching for illegal trade of skins and body parts, and persecution due to conflict situations. The third statement is correct because it is listed in CITES Appendix 1, and despite being a contracting part to CITES, national legislation does not incorporate and address the spirit and concerns of CITES. So, trained human resources, basic facilities and effective networks for the control of poaching and trade in wildlife are lacking. And although CITES is legally binding on the nations, it does not supersede the national laws. Rather, it provides a framework respected by each party, which must adopt their own domestic legislation to implement the CITES at the national level. So, understand that the CITES does not take the place of national law, but it just provides a framework. But we are still lacking in many resources and human manpower. And the Indian leopard comes under the vulnerable category, and it is also protected under Schedule 1, similar to tigers under the WPA of 1972. So, that is the explanation for this question. We will go for the next question. Which of the following are correctly matched? Satellite navigation system and country. 1. Beidou, China. 2. GPS, European Union. 3. Navic, India. And 4. GLONASS, US. Choose the correct code. Option A 1, 2 and 4 only. Option B 3 and 4 only. Option C 1 and 3 only. And option D 2, 3 and 4 only. So, we will be learning about the major satellite navigation systems of various countries, and we can be sure that option 3 NAVIC is the regional navigation system of India. It's been there in the news consistently for a long amount of time. So, I can say that the option 3 is right, and with that we can eliminate option A 1, 2 and 4 only to be wrong. Now, we are left with 3 more options. Beidou is also the navigation system of China. That is also the right answer. So, looking at that, we'll take option 1 to be the right answer. If you take option 1 as the right answer and remove option and make sure that option 3 is also present, you are left with just one option, that is option C 1 and 3 only. So, automatically option 2 GPS of EU and 4 GLONASS US is wrong. So, in the explanation we will know that it belongs to which countries and which are the major satellite navigation systems of different countries too. So, I will go with option C 1 and 3 only to be the right answer in this case. Let us look at the explanation. The answer is C. China has recently completed its Beidou navigation satellite system constellation, coming up with a product that can potentially rival the US global positioning system and will provide positioning services to transportation, emergency medical rescue and city planning and management areas. The GPS is owned by the US government and operated by the US Air Force. Apart from this, Russia has its own navigation system called GLONASS. The European Union has Galileo, while India has a navigation system called the Navigation with Indian Constellation or NAVIC. So, that is the explanation for the major navigation systems and the countries associated with them. We will go for the next question. In context of Gramodyog Vikas Yojana, consider the following statements. It is an initiative by the Ministry of Rural Development for sustainable development of village community. 2. It aims to create sustainable employment for the traditional artisans by providing them regular employment and increasing their wages. 3. Under this mission, Khadi and Village Industries Commission or KVIC will provide training to artisans. Choose the correct code, option A 1 and 2 only, option B 2 only, option C 1 and 3 only, and option D 2 and 3 only. So, looking at this, I would say that the Gramodyog Vikas Yojana, while it can be an initiative of Ministry of Rural Development, it actually comes under the Ministry of Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises. It comes under the Ministry of MSME Ministry. So, we will be learning about the major schemes and which ministries are associated with them. So, in this case, I would say the first statement is wrong because the ministry given to them is wrong. Remove the first statement, you are left with just options B and D, 50-50 elimination, that is option B 2 only and option D 2 and 3 only. Automatically the second statement becomes right, that is it aims to create sustainable employment for the traditional artisans by providing them regular employment and increasing their wages. The third statement, under this mission, Khadi and Village Industries Commission will provide training to artisans. Yes, the third statement is also seems to be right because it does provide training to artisans and KVIC is a body which can provide that. So, taking that into account, I would say the option D 2 and 3 only seem to be a right answer in this context. Let us look at the explanation. The answer is D. Statement 1 is not correct because the Ministry of MSME Government of India approved a program for the benefit of artisans involved in manufacturing of agarbatti and to develop village industry under the Gramodyog Vikas Yojana. Statement 2 is correct because the program aims to enhance the production of agarbatti in the country and create sustainable employment for the traditional artisans by providing them regular employment and increasing their wages. This will give a boost to the domestic agarbatti industry in the country and will reduce imports of agarbatti. The Government of India had earlier placed the agarbatti item from free trade to restricted trade in the import policy and enhanced the import duty from 10 to 25% on round bamboo sticks used for manufacturing of agarbatti. The statement 3 is correct because under this mission, KVIC, one of the statutory organizations working under the Ministry of MSME, will provide training and assist artisans working in this area with agarbatti manufacturing machines. KVIC will tie up with Khadi institutions, agarbatti manufacturers in the country having a good track record to provide work and raw material to agarbatti making artisans. So, that is the explanation for this question. I hope you all try to remember this. With this, we are ending part 1A of this video. This is CB Joy signing off. Thank you.